Cheechakko Lil needed a man like a rabbit needs a carrot. Not every day, but when someone could spare it. Old in the sense she was not born yesterday, she knew perfectly well the price of the play, and would only take a husband when she was back in North Carolina again. That being said, she was of this world locked, as she knew what was what and what all cost. From the price of beer, beans and onions ground, to whiskey and moose meat in the round. She knew of the cost to the cent of all she bought or had to rent. She also knew the cost of her peruding, both emotional and the chance of shooting. But this was known, as she often said, and she was far from a woman dead. And she had her needs, as do all who live, and pleasure she would both take and give. But when it came to cash and flakes, she did not a single misstep make, for she was not in known to wildly spend the cash she made on clothes or binge. For her restaurant was her cash cow for her declining days in the South. As an icebound entrepreneur, she had a lockstep procedure for dealing with the kittle cattle who came not to eat but to prattle. In her place on bench or table, you ate your meal and then skedaddled. Her flame of the moment, her nights to fill, was acclaimed jumper by the name of Bill. No last name for by and by, best to let southern sleeping dogs lie. As his sobriquet he chose Caribou to avoid telegraphic boogaboos. Cheechakko Lil did not give a whit, and no rumor made her snit. She gave not a thought to fuss, for her goal was cash enough. So if a man chose to pay her way, in bar or tavern, she'd let him pay. On that night in the Bonfire Saloon, Cheechakko Lil came in for a brew, with Caribou Bill by her side. They passed a table where a comment snide was made to Bill, stating his wealth had been earned by stealing another's pelf. Caribou Bill, without a look acetate, placed his right finger beneath the man's plate and flicked it upwards, sending beans along with gravy and knot in between, upward and over in a wide skyward onto the man who'd made the unctuous remark. In the span of a heartbeat, the saloon did engage in an outburst of curses, fisticuffs, and rage. Tables turned turtle and glasses flew, as the spirit of the melee enticed more than a few to swing upon their neighbor while they protected self, until the only one not so engaged was Charles XII. Cheechakko Lil was at the center of it all and had no hesitation in engaging in the brawl. She grabbed a bottle from off the barroom floor and beamed the man as if he were a man of war. And she an invading sloop with cannons ablazing and laid him low upon the floor, upward star glazing. The ruckus lasted long enough to attract the ire of bartender Whiskey Jack, who with a shotgun fired a single blast into the planks above, being sure to miss the cribs upstairs set aside for love. And Marshal Jew Bob, leaning against the bonfire wall, would later swear he had seen not a thing at all. Marshal Jew Bob is from Steve Levi's book, Bonfire Saloon. Bonfire Saloon is available at Author Masterminds, on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and everywhere good books are sold. Bonfire Saloon is a Readers and Writers Book Club selection.